Hey, how you doing today? James from Autism and Perspective. So I know normally I have a nice backdrop behind me because I'm outdoors doing things, but today it's really windy outside. You wouldn't even be able to hear me; it's so loud. But today I was doing a run, and while I was doing the run, I was thinking about the podcast today, which I often do. It gets me kind of motivated to do the run. And while I was doing it, I was thinking about patience, and I thought I'd talk a little bit about what patient is, especially when it surrounds adults and children who have autism. Now, you out there, parents and guardians who have a child or an adult with autism, you could write a book on patience. You have a scientific degree in patience. So this is a different kind of patience, a different level of patience that I'm talking about. So I'm not trying to say that you don't have patience, because I know you do. I see it. I see it. Oh my gosh, like in a given day, you're patient a million times more than I have to be. But this is what I'm talking about is a, the patience to do, like, change a program, to help with the need, to allow for processing. So children and adults with autism uh, receive information differently than you and I. Their brains are wired differently. There's a different routes that information travels through to reach their processing power. So, for example, in the case of you want them to choose between oranges and apples, because we talked about that before. So you ask them, do you want orange or apple? Well, you and I would be like, orange. I love oranges. I know I love oranges. I want oranges. But for them, the information comes in and they have to examine what is an orange, for example. So they might see 100 different pictures of an orange, and then they'll see 100 different pictures of an apple. And then they have to process both of those things, put them together, and then come with a decision. But quite often, what we do, what everyone does, especially with like children that are slower or even elderly people, we like to finish their sentences, don't we? We finish all their sentences. We'll have someone's talking with us, and we're fast people. We want to get things done, and they'll start be going, the other day I went for a drive and I went into the place with the trees, and we jump in and go forest. And, it might not be forest for them, but they just accept it and they move on because that's what we said. It could have been park. Who knows? But we are inputting their answer. We have to allow the patients to get your child or your adult with autism's answer. We have to allow them to process, get the information in, roll it around, and then come out with their own answer. And that may mean you need to step back and be quiet, and that's okay. So I have a client, he's an adult. I mentioned him once or twice, and I'll say to him things like, would you like to go for a drive? Now, he doesn't jump up right away. He doesn't even answer me right away. So I drop the hint. I say, hey, do you want to go for a drive? And then I pull away and I just wait. And then a few minutes will pass and he'll look at me. And then usually he'll sign drive. And I'll go, yeah. And then a couple of minutes will pass and he'll sign drive. And he'll look at me. And a couple more minutes will pass. And all of a sudden he jumps up, gets his shoes, and we go. Because he needed that processing time. Now, if I had have been, in such a hurry, I would have went, come on, let's go for a drive. Come on, let's go for a drive. Put on your shoes, let's go for a drive. That impedes their processing power. Because now I'm feeding them more information that they think, that they have to process. That original message is lost because now they have all this other information flying at them. So if you want them to do something like, I get them to do the dishes. So I'll say to him, I'll go out and I'll say, okay, bud, TV time's over, you gotta go do your dishes. Now, that can be very upsetting because he's not jumping up and doing it right away, right? But it's not because he's being disobedient or disrespectful, it's because he's processing. He's looking in his head, what is dishes? What is turning off the TV? That's a lot of information, right? Now, I'm not saying they're stupid. They're not stupid. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that they process slower. They're brilliant. They're wired different. Information flows in a different way. Takes longer to process. So then I say, go get the dishes done, and then I go and remove myself. I'll go into another room so I am not tempted to get into that. I really want you to do this. Why aren't you listening to me? I go into another room, I wait, and sometimes, to be honest, he doesn't get up and do it. So I'll go back out and go, hey bud, time to do those dishes, right? And then he'll usually sign dishes. Now he still hasn't got up, he still hasn't done anything I've asked him to do, but now I know he's with me. I know he knows what we're talking about. I can pull away. I pull away again. Now sometimes he'll get up and he'll go do them, and other times I have to go in that third time. Same message. I never change the message. Every time you change the message, it changes what they have to process. Okay, bud, you have to do the dishes. And normally he'll get up and go do them. And that's what I mean about patience. A different kind of patience, right? It's a patience to allow your child or adult the time they need to process. We live in a faster world than them, that we take in and out multiple ways of information. They can't always. Sometimes there are a million distractions flying in from everywhere. So when they're processing, it's a lot harder. So when you want your child or adult to do something, use the same message. That's very important. Every time you talk to them, for a direction, use the same wording, same cadence, same message. 2, allow them the time to process it. If you have to walk away because you know you can't handle it, walk away. If you can sit down and just wait, sit down and just wait. Allow them the time to process. And 3rd, understand that it's not always disobedience when they don't jump up to do it right away. Sometimes it's just processing. Well, I hope this helped you. Let me know if it did. You can like, comment, share. And as always, I'm James from Autism in Perspective. I'm really glad you're here.